Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Right Royal Jam. I have to put this disclaimer up just because how spicy it can get sometimes. So I just want to cover my back. All right. So I'll put this up. And Tina is back with us now. I'm so happy you're back. I've
Hello,
missed you. I'm just going to
everyone.
try and take this down now. Yeah, right, that's gone.
There you
Yes,
go.
welcome back, Tina. Brilliant to see
Yeah,
you. How have you been?
it's, I've been all right. I've been busy, 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 busy. I'm going on our day tomorrow night, early hours. So it's
Yeah.
just trying to get everything sorted. I feel like
You're
I'm
going
taking
away,
half the
aren't
super
you?
drug with me.
Yeah,
Every
you are looking a
medical
bit browner
emergency.
from the sunbed.
I
You're
am.
looking good. You feeling excited to go? I wish I was going away with you, Tina. I was
I
very
wish you
ill
were
on
coming
Saturday
too.
nights. Yeah, Saturday I couldn't do it, guys. I was really, really ill on Saturday. 9 o'clock. I couldn't go live. Had the sorest throat. So I do apologise. I probably should have put something up in the community page, but I just was not in a good way. So I do apologise for that. Normally I keep to my, my what's the word? My
Plan,
schedule,
schedule.
my plans. Yeah, but I couldn't do it. I hope everyone's well. Thanks for joining us in the chat. So today, going back to the royal news, I was like, right. So this is where it got quite confusing because I'm obviously on the look at the royal. Oh, hold on 2 seconds. Let me get it up. I will find it. Okay. Okay, so they put out a
Hello, Ruth.
statement, didn't they? They put a statement out to everyone
Yeah.
from Buckingham Palace. So saw it this morning, but it was like a bit bleary eyed, and I was like, "What the hell?" The Princess Royal has sustained minor injuries and concussion following an incident at Gatcombe Park Estate yesterday evening. Her Royal Highness remains in Southmead Hospital in Bristol as a precautionary measure for observation and is expected to make a full and swift recovery. The King has been kept closely informed and joins the whole royal family in sending his fondest love and well wishes to the Princess for a speedy recovery. So as soon as I read that, I was like, that's Princess Catherine. And I know he
Oh,
just didn't
Jesus
put the
Christ.
name.
Can
I
you
thought, what the hell's...
imagine?
Yeah, I thought, what's
The
going on? Because,
conspiracies would have been through the roof.
yeah. And so I actually made a thumbnail with Princess Catherine on it, thinking it was her, without doing any research. I was like, oh my goodness me. And then I found out, obviously, it was Princess Anne. But I just thought the poor woman, she's going through enough. She's had another incident.
Oh my
And
God,
I
no.
obviously, because I don't think Princess Catherine rides as much as Princess Anne does, so you just wouldn't put the two together. Or I just assumed it was going to be like a car incident or a car
Yeah,
accident or something like that.
no.
So yeah, so panic over. And obviously I am, a lover of Princess Anne because she is a massive advocate for charities. I mean, I think she actually is involved in about 300 different organizations, which is crazy.
The woman doesn't
And
stop.
she doesn't. She is really versatile. She's part of Save the Children for over 50 years. She helps people with disabilities. She's a patron for over 300 organisations, including Wise Riders for Health and Carers Trust. And she helps a lot of developing countries as well. And she just doesn't stop. She's
No,
73.
she don't. Yeah, and she's always doing the
73.
royal duties. And yeah, she brings it. She's the original,
Yeah,
like, if
she's
anyone wants to preach
hardcore.
about feminism, it will be
Yeah.
Princess Anne. However, she won't preach about it. She would just show with her actions and behaviours what it is to be a strong, independent woman.
She is so stoic, and she is just gets on with it. And so there is this feeling that I have read a few articles. There's this feeling that it might be a bit more serious than what we think, just because I think she's the type of woman who'll just discharge herself and say, you know what, I'm fine.
Stop this. I want to go
She
home.
would. Yeah, she's not into like all this like fuss and. So I did read this article, and I'm going to read it out to you guys, and you guys can sort of get an idea of what you think about it. Because yeah, it does feel like there might be a bit more to it. I wish she put Princess Anne in the actual statement. I don't know why he didn't do that, because not everybody has seen the news. So just going to foil the royal thing and go, oh my God. Right. So let's get it out. Okay, this is from GB News, GBN News.
Yeah.
So Princess Anne's injuries may be more serious than the palace is admitting. From Michael Cole. So Princess Anne's injuries could be more serious than Buckingham Palace is admitting, former royal correspondent has claimed. The palace announced this afternoon that the Princess Royal has sustained minor injuries and concussion whilst at Gatcombe Park Estate. And GB News understands that the incident is consistent with an impact with the horse's head or legs. And in a statement released on Monday, Buckingham Palace said the Princess Royal has sustained minor injuries and concussion following an incident on the Gatcombe Park estate yesterday evening. Her Royal Highness remains in Southmead Hospital as a precautionary measure for observation and is expected to make a full and swift recovery. The King has been kept closely informed and joins the royal family in sending his fondest love and well wishes to the Princess. Also say she stayed overnight, and I think there should be an indication that this was no minor matter. But I do know that with head injuries, they do have to watch you, don't they? You know, if you get a head injury, you can get quite bad concussion, and that could lead to all sorts of complications. So as far as I know, I know head injuries are taken quite seriously with any professional, even at schools. They say, come and get your kids.
And let's be honest, as much as people don't want to acknowledge or admit this is the royal family. So their treatment and their extra precautions, if they have an head injury or if they're battling, they are going to get the best care until, they're not going to get kicked out. We need a bed, move over, like us. And I'm not doing that in shade. That's just a reality of the situation. It's the royal family. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people would be like, oh, it's worse. Well, actually, no, it's Princess Anne. So they probably will keep her an extra day.
A horse injury as well is quite, it could be quite impactful, can't it? I mean, they're very, very strong and they can cause a lot of damage. You know, you get kicked by a horse, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Even a headbutt, But she's 73 as well. So, she's got to take her age into consideration.
It's mad, isn't it? Sorry.
Go on. No,
go.
It's
mad. I've just done a post about Thomas Markle Senior, and it was like he's approaching 80, and the kid, is he 75? And like Princess Anne. I know. Like when I reflect back at my granddad, who seemed like really old, but then I was a kid then. I suppose it's different. But I was just like they don't see I don't know. It's like the Queen. We thought she'd just live forever. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
It's mad, isn't it? And when you times like this, you're like, shit, they're actually really old now,
it is I think because we've had this long reign of the Queen, I think she's longer than Queen Victoria, so she outdid her.
Hey Christy.
Hello everybody in the chat, thanks for joining us, guys. I know it's hot outside, you're probably not really in the summer, everyone's like, I'm not watching YouTube, I'm not enjoying the sun.
Can I just say, Emma Tomes, I've double liked, once on a tablet, once on my phone. Thank you, Emma.
Thank you very much. Very, very, very nice of you. The more likes we get, the better. The comment as well. If you any constructive criticism, I'm open to. Just be nice to me though. on Thursday,
23 degrees in Glasgow.
It got heated on Thursday. Yeah, it really did.
Oh, wow.
It's a very spicy conversation. We had some. It's just Paula was like, there was a comment, some lady in the chat, who was, I can't remember her name now. She was just kind of going in, and Paul was like, just go if you don't want to be here. It was good. It was a good conversation, a very good conversation. But yeah, it was a live one. I was like, oh, but yeah, so
on your toes, on the edge of your seat.
It was
sometimes it's like that. It's like, Lady
I
Eileen, you
think
don't actually
we
know really what's
we
happening
had
to
some
this
sugars
royal
in the chat because it was all about the maid's interview, the
interview.
second part. And I think they're going to do another I think they're going to interview her again on Sean's platform. I
Yeah.
don't know how that's going to work
Oh
because
wow.
she's got to disguise her voice and translate from Spanish to English. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting.
We're going to go back to what you were saying about your post, Tina, on your YouTube and TikTok. Is that right? You did it on
Oh
both?
yes, yeah. I haven't posted in a while, guys. And I really post when I feel, because I don't literally go searching or researching, because I don't think I've got the mindset or the dedication like that. I ain't got the time. I've got a young family, and I just post on what I feel. And
And
any
yeah,
human being, you see an 80-year-old man pleading for his 80th birthday, knowing
yeah,
that he won't get that, makes you feel a kind of ways, doesn't it? Whether it's disgust or
it
sadness,
does. It
it makes
does.
you
And
react.
yeah. And I'll read the article first, and we'll go
Yeah.
over it because I saw that as well, and that was yesterday that came out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I do. It is hard, especially at his age. But I'll read it first, and we'll go over it. Thomas Markle has never met Prince Harry in 8 years after the couple's first date. Now, I didn't know
Disgusting.
they've never met. I didn't
No,
know
how
that.
disgusting is that?
I mean, that's crazy.
Do you know
Meghan
what? I got a
Markle's father.
question. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Would he have met Chelsea Davies' family? Yes, he would.
Yes.
Absolutely, he would have followed tradition and asked Chelsea's dad for the hand in marriage, and that's how little Harry thinks of the Markles, in my opinion.
Well, let's go over that in a minute. Because I have a slightly different outtake on that,
Do
Tina. But
you? Okay,
yes, I do. Meghan
cool.
Markle's father, Thomas, says that 8 years after his daughters first started dating Prince Harry, there is still one question that puzzles him. It is well known that the 79-year-old, who is just weeks away from his 80th birthday, is no longer on talking terms with his daughter, but he remains baffled by the treatment he received from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. In a new interview, the American admits that his life has been overshadowed by what has happened in the last 6 years, and said that he struggles to understand why he never actually met Prince Harry. When I reflect, this is in speech marks. When I reflect back on my life, as you do when you're approaching 80, that's one of the questions I cannot find an answer for. He told the Daily Mail, "Why didn't Harry ever come to meet me? He has the resources to fly around the world and does, but why doesn't he come to see me? Particularly when people in the royal household like Jason and Meghan's former secretary were urging him to do so." I think Jason Nuff, is that right? That has
Yeah,
never made sense to me. What man gets married without meeting his wife's father? Jason Nuff in recent years found himself at the centre of the storm over the relationship between the Sussexes and Thomas Markle. The palace aide was influential in advising the Duke and Duchess how they should handle their relationship with Meghan's father. Evidence given also suggests that Nuff spoke to Thomas Markle repeatedly when there was media attention on the relationship between the father and daughter. And Thomas Markle said he would also like to speak to the king as he feels sorry for His Majesty and believes there are parallels between how they have both been treated by the Sussexes, which is completely
yeah,
understandable. He said, "I would love to speak to him because I'm sure he has many unanswered questions as I do. Neither of us deserve the treatment we've received. He is going through cancer treatment, and I'm not in the best health either. So they're both kind of in poor
yeah.
health. I'm not afraid of dying. It is what it is. I have so many questions I'd like to ask Meghan and Harry. The main one being, why have they treated me, not only me so badly, but the king so badly?" You do, and you do see parallels, don't you? I mean, this is kind of, it feels this, and this is something that happens with, and I'm going to put this out there. This is just an idea, guys. It's not saying this is what it is, but when two people are drug addicts,
Yeah.
they do isolate themselves from their own family because they're hiding their substance abuse. It feels very similar to that. What do you think of that, Tina? I'm not saying it, but I'm just putting the idea out there.
Okay, so if I were just to play around the edge, I suppose they're addicted to each other in this selfish greed. So addiction to the toxicity, addiction to the victim playing they get out of each other, maybe. And we also know that Harry is being allowed to crack on with his, healing in a kind of method way. And like I said, like the fact she's allowed that and allowed the world to know, even though Meghan loves her aesthetic and how she's presented and how people see her. Yeah, they have isolated and segregated away. Do I think it's 50-50 with that? Now, yes. Do I think that Harry set out to do all of this? Not so much to begin with. But now he's full on him.
I just find it incredible
Yeah, I know.
that they've both done the same thing to each father. Exactly the same thing. Has he encouraged her, and has she encouraged him? And I just, the ratio and the numbers and how it all works just doesn't make sense, because they can't both be that intolerable and that,
That's it.
there's nothing that warrants them not speaking and even meeting Harry for that amount of time, and vice versa. You're not seeing the grandchildren. Grandparent alienation again. It's a terrible thing to do to grandparents, because you're not only ripping their own child away in that relationship, but you're taking a beautiful relationship away from the kids.
And beautiful relationships, we know that Thomas Markle Sr. is capable of giving. We've watched him with Meghan as she was growing up. Again, there's footage, and we've watched Charles running around Sandringham with the boys. We watch him with the grandchildren he is allowed to see, and it's very natural. So you see Charlotte or Louis sat on his lap, and their children are missing out on that. Simple as. And that's pretty much what my post was about, actually, to seeing that I reflected on my granddad in actually. And it, like, I hate to go there, right, but I'm a realist. When that day comes, is that it? They're not gonna, or are they gonna come with a black veil over their head? Can you turn up?
Well, this is the thing, right, Tina? They're not getting any younger, are they?
No.
And you're completely correct. 80 years old, nearly 80. He's not going to have a lot of time left if he's in poor health. Let's be honest.
And the stress of this.
Yeah. And I'm not wishing it upon him,
No,
but I'm
no.
saying
And it's
you
sad
are
having
you
this
are playing with the last segment of somebody's life.
That's why he's begging.
And don't you want to make amends? And for the sake of you, also for your own peace of mind, because when he's gone, he's gone. There is no reconciliation. There's no chance to say sorry and to make amends, and then you're going to live with that regret for the rest of your life. And I would live with that regret. If my father wasn't this devil man that is being portrayed, because if all he's done is sold a few stories, if he did, and we don't know for definite.
But here's the thing, and I've just reflected that in my post. The man has no choice. If he wants to get any kind of message across to his daughter, it's through the media. She's created that by removing herself away. She's a really good narcissist, right? We wouldn't be speaking today. I would never have met you because we wouldn't fucking know, right? And her dad wouldn't be in front of us begging to see. But again, it's only the same games we watch Harry and Meghan do with the media to try and communicate with the royal family with this, and that's the thing, we're all audience members to this. We're not stupid, we're human beings. We have these basic blueprints of what it is. We understand what's going on, and that's why we feel this way when we see that. Thomas Markle Sr. has no choice. If he wants to try and communicate a desperate wish of begging his daughter, his only choice is the mainstream media. And that's what Meghan Markle has created, in my opinion. And Harry.
Yeah, and you're right. I suppose the only form of communication is through the media, because if she's completely cut off any access, how can he get his message across? And maybe this is why also the Markles are doing their own YouTube and finding their voice, because they need to express their feelings. Because I think it's one thing being cut off and knowing why, but it's a different thing if you've been cut off and you don't have any answers. Because I think cutting someone off out of your life, a family member, I feel like it has to be they have to really impact your mental health, and be a toxic parent or a toxic family member, or have done something really awful. But I just don't really get the reasoning behind it, this, and for both sides, and it's very hard to come back from this now. It's very hurtful. But like you said, the time is ticking away for both dads. Enjoy the years that you have left with your parents. But he's basically pleading that article. He's pleading for her to.
And how sad is that? And you went and watched Inside Out, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yes, right. So and it's true, right? We all have these emotions kicking around inside us.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the war Thomas Markle Senior's got going on? The clock is ticking. Every day there's a headline. Every day it says his daughter, Harry, the royal, every day is slipping by, and I can't even imagine how the mental strain, and especially when you've got no voice. And you've been silenced, and you've been slated in the media, which he was being slated before he released those and to me he was target number one anyway, and probably set up, in my opinion. I believe he was set up. I feel like it was all a plan to get him out the way and do this here today and be here today. And it's just, and that's the thing, this isn't about Harry and Meghan's jam. I think it's about human beings just looking on and going, do you understand the gravity of this now? Right? Can we go from a headline of an 80-year-old man begging to see his grandchildren? If that don't happen, then, life does what life does. Are you actually going to have the gall to turn up? Because that can't happen. Like,
I know it's, I remember back in the day, I lived in a village. So I lived in London, I moved to a village, and then I came back to London. And this village I lived in, great, it's lovely people, but there was occasions where there were funerals and that person never even really knew that person, or they didn't, and they would just turn up. And I always used to wonder why, because if I felt like I didn't really know you very well, I'm not going to come to your funeral. It just doesn't really sit right with me, because I'm not really, I'm sad that you've died, but if I just was someone that I say hello to, it's like going to my neighbours round the corner, say hi to as I pass the shops, but I don't even know your name. And it's like you can't love them in death and grieve in death if you've not been there for them in life. I think that's it's, I think it's almost like you're doing it for yourself, and to make a spectacle out of your own.
And that's what they bring. And that's, and even if Harry and Meghan had some dramatic turnaround in who they are as people and wanted to set up a meeting with Thomas Markle, who wanted to fix women's cup, no one believes that any of it is from a conscience of clear or good. Well, it's not clear, but it's from a good place. It would only be, in our opinions, looking on to propel them, because they've had all this time. You had your dad's 80th birthday. Where were you? Because we see him pleading for you to see him. So how dare you? How could you? This is not for him, because you could have given it him when he was alive. Anyhow, I don't want to speak about his death, but that's pretty much what he's saying in his statement, though, isn't it? He's begging to see them
it's
as
a plea.
he's getting older. So he's pretty much saying that, isn't he? And also, Vic, right? So, okay, people fall out with their families and stuff. Could you cope with everyone in the world knowing? And she's that bad of a narcissist She can't even play the game to make it look okay for her. She doesn't understand, does she? She can't do.
It is always, you know, whatever problems you have at home, I do think you should just try and keep them keep it all behind closed doors, because you don't, I think when it's such minor things, or it's just disagreements and it's you know, difference of opinions over certain things.
Yeah.
Why is it shared? Why is it on the world stage? They don't need to give out all of their dirty laundry, and that's what Spare did. It gave out every bit of dirty laundry, that some of it was, I just thought, was quite irrelevant. Like, actually, that's just what normal families go through. It's not that dramatic, Harry. You know.
But the thing is, right, I do the aftermath and I speak about my childhood and abuse and stuff like that in our family story. I've had arguments with my family of recent. I don't post on that. I'm not sharing that, right? Because there's someone else involved in that who will get hurt by that, and I love them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, I will speak on the aftermath, and my family support me with that, because they're like, if it can save one person. But I would never bring an argument to today, because like, I can feel a kind of way about my family and speak about them, but God forbid anyone else do, right? Anyone else does that, and my back is right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And you know what it reminds me of? You know, them people on Facebook that go, oh, I've just checked into the hospital this evening, and they're like, and then people write underneath me, what's up, hon? I'll DM you.
I'll DM you.
And it's that kind of like, or they'll put
room 666.
They'll put an argument up on their status, like, you bloody rah rah rah, telling, like, you know, having a go at someone, don't, but it's like for everyone to see. And it's like, just take up your issue with the person directly. Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it on Facebook?
Yeah,
and there's a lot of people that do that. She's a Facebook person. She's one of them ones. We need to get a name for them. What should we call them?
She have a picture of her dinner. She have a picture of her dinner. And like, it's just some really random quote, which is basically seeking sympathy for people to go, oh, how are you? What's work? And they go, I'll DM you.
Yeah, I'll DM you, hon.
I'm just checking to see how many of you love me.
And she's in
Hello, like, Marabella. Beautiful name.
It is a beautiful name. So yeah, I do feel for him, and I do hope that I don't want him to. I would like that he would be able to sit there and not dwell on it so much, because you can't control other people's behaviour, and sometimes you just don't understand it. I don't understand it. And like you said, with Harry's also encouraged that behaviour, because he's not said, oh, Megan, you know, maybe you should make amends with your dad and you should reconnect with him. He's not encouraging that. So that, and they're not encouraging each other to reconnect with their families.
I've got a theory, and when the UK kind of went, what? Your family's not going to be at your wedding? And then, like, she broke up with her family, and I think the aesthetic and the projection, I feel like she didn't have a relationship with her family. People judged her for it, and she was like, right, he's got to lose his family now to make us equal. And then they've got this victimhood, and they're both alone, and like Harry's on Netflix going, her dad's sort of like, she's grieving him like he was dead. Like, it's honestly, they're like a toxic duo. Like, they just feed each other and their insecurities, and it's just, and
he literally found himself.
The damage, eh?
He found himself. He found another Harry, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and she's found another Meg. No, hold on. She's found another. No, you know what I mean.
Yeah. But Emma Tone's just said she reckons there could have been something going on at home, and I don't. For one, you don't know, but if ever that were to come out now, I wouldn't believe it anyway, because Harry and Meghan are like the little boy and girl that cried wolf, and she's had every opportunity, and I know it doesn't work like that, but I feel like, and we've said this all along with a royal mess, you know, Thomas Markle sadly is at risk of her doing that, because blatantly there's no levels they won't go to try and claim mass victimhood, you know.
It's a worries me kind of. I've had it hard. mindset, isn't it? And that
Mhm.
together they're not going to get out of it. But yeah, I do feel for him. But you know, what can you do if someone won't reach out and
Yeah.
change, then he's not really got much chance of you know getting his daughter back on side. And they only ever fell out. She stopped speaking to him just because she thought he was selling stories. Is that correct? That was the only reason.
Yeah, pretty much. I think
Mm,
because of
mm,
those paparazzi pictures, those setup ones, which I think the photographer was someone she was using at the time as well. So it just seems a bit off to me. And you know,
mm,
there was one picture where he's walking with the weights in his hands, and it's almost
mm.
like he's trying to convey, I'm going to get fit for your wedding day. It's like, I'm enough, please
Oh,
let me be. And
okay.
I looked at that picture and I felt really sad that this man's been
Mm,
placed into a corner. But then the
mm,
headlines were, and even Harry referenced it in his Netflix or his book, and where he said every other day it was another headline: Thomas Markle goes to buy 4 cans of beer, Thomas Markle buying a loose suit with a gut hanging out of his belt, and Harry writ the word. He literally spoke about him in his own documentary or book, I can't remember which one, so that many, in such a derogatory way as well, and how him and Meghan were ashamed and embarrassed. So, like, if you were looking at it from that perspective, then Thomas Markle was right to be feeling the way he was, because they were actually embarrassed of him. He's
well,
wrote
how
that. Or
how how about that actually he didn't set it up at all, and then he was just being followed by paparazzi because they want to know who the family is, and maybe they were just following him around. He might not have set it up. I mean, why would he? I don't think he needs to, in fact, because
do you know?
they are gonna go on.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. Do you know what though? The one thing Thomas Marcus Senior has done, he's apologised. He's apologised over and over again. And you know what?
Mm,
Sometimes when someone wants to show and can show a bit of accountability for their actions, it shows a lot more about that human being, you know, when they're
mm,
aware that
mm,
they've done.
mm. Yeah. The saga continues, and I think that the problem is they just think it's going to go away. You know, I think they think if they're silent for long enough about the other, you know, both families, and they just carry on with their lives, no one's going to say anything. But
Yeah.
nobody's letting it go. You know,
No.
it is there in the forefront of
Yeah.
everybody's minds,
Yeah.
as to why they are doing this to their families,
Yeah.
because
I know.
there's
It's crazy.
yeah. But let's move on anyway. So you told me, Tina, that Prince William was at a Taylor Swift concert.
I know.
Talk to me about this.
Do you know what? I've seen the picture of him dancing, so dad
Okay.
dance. He's having the time of his life. And do you know what? I was listening to on the radio today, and 2 radio presenters were basically saying about how, you know, you wouldn't have had the Queen going to Rolling Stones and bopping away. And this shows the
Mm,
difference in the young monarchy, in how, you know, William is moving it forwards, and it's a bit more relaxed. And actually, you know, I see a really sad video the other day of William when he was younger, and it was a combination of all these moments where he was out and about in the press, and he's like this with his hands, and he's got a menu up in front of his face like that, in like the sheer hate in of being having the press always in his face, you know. And we look at Louis, Charlotte, and George today and how relaxed they are. Can't you see there how Williams took his negative in how he felt, and he's created change for his children to enable them to feel comfortable as children and be children also.
mm, mm. And I think this is what he's doing, is he's really doing what his kids want him to do.
Yeah,
So obviously it was a kid's idea to go to see Taylor
yeah,
Swift.
yeah.
And he just went along with it, and they were lucky and fortunate enough to have met her as well, which was
I
nice. I saw
know.
a picture, but
Yeah.
I think Meghan attended it as well. Did she not?
Did she?
I don't know, not as well liked.
Really? Oh, I don't
Yeah,
know. Well,
Meghan may have
if she
attended it.
did, she got overshone.
She really
Unlucky
did.
Mag. Try again next time. when the future king's not there with his 3 children that we can physically see. Joey, Joey,
But
do
she
you know
wasn't
what
there with the
though?
kids. Yeah, go on.
Oh no, of course not. Of course I don't go anywhere with the kids.
This kids saga is
God.
just so much for me. We've already covered this. I'm not going back into it. I've spoken enough about this on
Do you know
Thursday.
what?
I'm
I've just done
just
that post. And someone said, it's hard for them to see the kids that don't exist. And I just said to them, look, I cannot, right? I'm just dependent on the fact that they do exist, because if they don't, right, stop this earth, I want to climb off, because like you could, no, I'm not having it. But either way, I don't believe it's emotionally stable way for children to be brought up,
they're
with no
living a very
family
weird life,
connections,
aren't they?
no exposure to people. Well, they might be mixing with people, but it's just odd, especially if Harry and Meghan want a life in the public eye and their children are being completely hid from it. They're going to be wild when they realise what their life could have entailed with the royal family. And I just see, like, with William, he's breaking the generational trauma. Yeah, Harry seems to be making, like, you see William, he's making his story their story, and Harry's just still going on about his story, you know?
It's crazy because normally you get caught out with your kids, like just going even getting them in and out of the car, as
Yeah.
much as you want to keep them private, they're going to get caught and packed somewhere. It just doesn't happen, does it? So I've got to read you about the Taylor Swift and Meghan, because I'm gonna read this to you. So Prince Harry and Meghan, it says here, Duchess is reeling after huge Taylor Swift rejection. Meghan Markle has previously invited the American megastar Taylor Swift to appear on one episode of her now defunct Spotify podcast. Meghan Markle was once again rejected by international idol Taylor Swift because she is Team Wales, a royal commentator has claimed. Over the weekend, Prince William treated Prince George and Princess Charlotte to the first of her 3-night tour in London, and the trio took selfies with Swift, who thanked her for bringing the family to see her perform. Swift has previously rejected an invitation by the Duchess of Sussex to take part in her Spotify podcast before it was shut down last year, despite Meghan personally reaching out. So there's a little bit of animosity between between Taylor Swift and Meghan, by the sounds of it. She didn't go on to the podcast. She rejected it. And it says here, now remember, Meghan Markle has requested for Taylor to be on her podcast. She wrote her a handwritten letter and Taylor's team rejected it. Meghan has also released through magazine that she has spent some time at Taylor Swift's concert. So I think we are seeing our Taylor side with Team Wales here over the last few hours. Also, a lot of you are pointing out the pictures of Meghan and Harry at the Beyonce concert, where Harry looks pretty miserable versus Prince Harry looks pretty miserable versus Prince William shaking his tail feathers. I like that. At the Taylor Swift concert, you're just seeing that Prince William is pursuing joy, and I think it's important.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a contrast to how Harry enjoys himself and how Prince William enjoys himself.
Do you know what? You look at previous footage, though. There is previous footage in there. Harry, William, I think Chelsea is somewhere, and there's music playing, and William is joking around. And you see the jokey side to William quite a lot, and he's pulling the kids' ears. Like when they're at like a traditional thing, he will try and relax them a bit and joke with them and bring dad to the table. And as for the Taylor, like, it's Taylor Swift, she's not stupid. None of the celebrities are stupid. That's why they're not stood next to Harry and Meghan. They got a career to think about. And to be honest with you, if that was me and I could position myself next to anyone in this situation right now, hell yeah, it'd be William. But it would be based off the better person that he is as well. Because even celebrities
Yes.
are human.
Yes, exactly. And you know what it is, the celebrities, as soon as they see someone's not popular, they all jump shits. Like, you know,
Yeah.
a shit jump shits. Did I say shits?
Yeah.
Jump shits. And they're like, no, rats that jump ship. Is that
Yes.
right? Yeah, that's
They
right.
jump the
Well,
sinking ship, don't they?
sinking ship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So they just completely abandon ship because that's not good for their image. And you'll find a lot of celebrities are just kind of hanging out with the most popular at the time, and then they'll just change and shift up their patterns. And
Yeah.
there is no rhyme or reason at the moment to engage with
Yeah.
Harry and Meghan because they've got nothing to offer.
Yeah.
And you know the way that they have treated, and I suppose their public speaking on everything that happens in their life, they probably don't want to be kind of encompassed in that, because
No.
imagine if they fell out with their friend and then they started just talking not their business, because they would. There's doesn't
Yeah.
Nothing stops them. They're happily talk about
Well,
anyone.
look at
So
Courtney Cox, right? She's had an image of being Monica from Friends, right? As much as
yeah,
they try and segregate, people look at Courtney Cox and see Monica from Friends, right? So Harry
yeah.
writing in his book about doing shrooms all in her house, it gives you that inner glimpse, which she probably didn't want people
No,
to
did he
see.
say that?
Yeah,
I bet she was really impressed with that revelation.
precisely. But the thing is, other celebrities see that and go, yeah, no, they're not coming around to our house.
No, no, because
Because
there's
it's
an
name
unwritten.
dropping as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's an unwritten rule. You might have a story to tell, and I'll always have stories to tell, guys, but I'm not going to be dropping any names. People know who they are. The stories are there, but I'm not going to start. You know, oh yeah, this person, and they live at this address. Do you know what I mean?
But
It's
then the thing is, as well, this is celebrities on a mass scale. This could be so damaging in what he's put down on paper to them. It's
yeah, it's
crazy.
damaging because some people have a certain, they want to portray themselves in a certain manner. They have a private life, everybody does.
Yeah.
They might do things in their private life that they particularly know that the public might not tend to agree with. Not everybody agrees with doing mushrooms, and they might think, that's a bit, you know, out there. So she has a sort of an image to uphold.
Yeah.
She might not have not wanted anyone to know about her shroom taking
No,
days. Because
not at
I
all.
didn't, I never thought that would be her doing that anyway. I think she's got a clean cut
Precisely,
image.
right? So it gives
Yeah,
you another
exactly.
layer and a different perspective when you look at Courtney Cox now. You're like, geez, man, you're having, like, it's nothing, you know, each to their own. You know, if she's having a shroom parties or whatever, or they're doing streams at her house, that's up to her, you know, like there are worse crimes to do, but you don't expect the prince, the last person, to go and write a book and tell the world it was Prince Harry.
Emma Thomas, I'm just putting you out on here. Loved a mushroom back in the day. Yes, I love cooked
I
mushrooms too,
didn't.
Emma. Love with a
Scary.
breakfast.
Scary stuff. Never again.
No, yeah, no. It is what it is. I mean, the thing is, I think, did he name drop anybody else?
I don't know.
When he
I
was in
can't
the book,
remember. I
did
think
he kind of get anyone else in the kind of
the Courtney Cox one, it was really cringe as well, because it was about going to the toilet in her house and the bin was speaking to him and stuff. Just like,
oh, the bin was speaking to
or something
him.
like the toilet seat or something like that. Something in the bathroom
I
was
love
speaking
it.
to him.
Oh, that's brilliant. I wonder what that bin was saying,
I don't know.
predicting his future.
Yeah.
Is
Is
anyone with
anyone with
Anne?
Anne? Do you know what? I
That's
don't,
a
will
good
they?
question. I doubt it. I think she's going
No.
to have a lot of bedside kind of attendance though, because
Yeah.
she's high priority. So I'm guessing they're going to do like round the clock observations, because they don't want anything to happen to her under their watch. So maybe someone is, but I would say probably not.
I
I
would
don't
say
think so.
Princess Anne also, she's from an older generation. There's that level where it's like, I don't want the fuss. But also you've
Yeah.
got
Oh
like
no,
the
she's not
royal,
like that.
yeah. And you've got, and like she wouldn't want anyone going, oh my God. And you've
Yeah.
also got the elements of the royal family, which is also layered on top of not wanting the fuss, you know? And
Yeah.
that's why we all
Yeah.
look at her and go, God damn, you would have made an amazing queen. Like, you don't want the
She
fuck,
would
you
have.
know?
She would have been
Like,
really good as queen. She's very much like her mum in a way. She's got a bit of both. Actually, no, she's got that horse riding love and the love for animals like her mum,
yeah.
100%, and that caring side. But
Mm,
she's got that Prince Philip kind of uh punchy kind of I
yeah.
don't care,
Yeah.
fearless kind of attitude. She's
Yeah.
quite tomboyish back in the
Yeah.
day, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And she has a bit of both, but she has got that she could have been a great queen,
Mm-hmm.
definitely, without fail. And she doesn't complain. She has that stiff upper lip like a lot of the old tradition. And do all of us English have that stiff upper lip now? I'm not too
Yeah.
sure if that's,
Oh,
how
that,
do
yeah,
you
we're
think
losing
about
that
that
a bit,
now?
aren't we? We're losing
Is
that,
it?
you know.
Yeah, I
We're
think
going to take
everybody's got a
our
bit
kids to watch
soft.
Inside Out, mate. We're screwed. We're screwed. They can use it against us now. Your
Oh, I
emotions.
know. You can't say a lot of things that you want to say. You can't speak your mind these days. It's a very difficult world to navigate, isn't it? Everything's kind of censored, and you have to be
But
like, oh, second guess yourself. Um,
But also playing devil's advocate though, Princess
yeah,
Anne with this punchy way she's got about her, and Princess Margaret is the same. They're able to because they are
mm,
the spare, or you know, I don't. She wasn't the
mm,
spare. Andrew was the spare one, but they haven't got that pressure to step in to be in. In the fact actually that Princess Anne went, no, we don't need the titles for Zara. I think she wanted to take
yeah,
it a step further to get rid of all the pressure completely, you know.
yeah,
So
mm,
yeah, I feel like they're able to be a bit more punchy because
yeah,
they're not
yeah.
going to be king queen, you know.
Yeah, and she does so much behind the scenes that she just doesn't talk about, you know.
Yeah.
She's there's a lot of celebrities that are like that, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
royals that do a lot more than we know. I like this comment. I've got to just read it out. Pom, yes, Elizabeth Arden was also name dropped. Yes, yes, on the Todger. Now I don't understand how Elizabeth Arden cream heals frostbite, but hey ho, it's I should market it that way.
I just think who on earth was saying, yeah, that's you know, and you do that, don't you? You thing with books and stuff, and you add the glitz and the you know the sparkle to a sentence or a story or a
Yeah.
chapter. Would you
Would
chuck
I?
in about the Elizabeth Arden? Would you be
Mm,
like, no,
I
leave that out?
don't know. Yeah. Well, this is a difficult one because I don't really believe that cream would have helped in any way, shape, or form. He just wanted to talk about his mum's face cream,
Yeah.
and putting it on his todger. And I think, I don't know.
It's a
It's
weird
all
way
a
to
bit
incorporate your mom, though, right?
yeah, it feels a bit incestuous, I've got to say. I
You just feel
don't,
like everyone was reading the book, got to that bit, this is my book, and they were just like, ugh. You know what I mean? Like, really? Your mom? It reminded you of your mom as you were rubbing the cream on your.
it's just, yeah, it's like putting the two things together. It's made me
Yeah,
feel quite
yeah, yeah,
uncomfortable,
yeah.
because I don't think I'd say in a book, if I wrote a book, I'd be like, yeah, so I put I can't believe I'm saying this. My dad's Nivea cream on my butt. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah.
I was going to say
But
something
hang
else
on a
then, but that's
minute.
a bit too
You
far.
said it was oscillating.
Oh
As a,
yeah, it was oscillating. Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
it
just
was
all
an
a bit
oscillating
weird.
Dodger.
50 Shades of Grey / like weird mom. It was, yeah.
Do you know what it reminds me of?
Well.
It's like that odd relationship between, you know, Little Britain, when you see and he's like, Mummy, Bitty, Bitty, and he's 40 and he's sucking on his mummy's
Mm.
um, boobies.
You know what? Like, I see a headline the other day, and he said this before, Harry, about how he carries guilt because the last phone call that Diana rang before she died, he wanted to carry on playing with his cousins. You know, this is the childhood he was having, right? He was having
Mm,
too much fun with all his cousins and stuff. And William, he didn't want to speak to her. So you know, he was a child. Like, he didn't know what was to come. But obviously
yeah.
this has impacted him. Like, his last phone call, he wanted to get her off the phone.
Mm,
And that,
yeah.
we can all relate to how that would make you, and how that you would carry so much guilt to that. But I've lost my trail of thought.
Well,
No,
I know what you
gone.
mean. He feels guilty that he didn't give her the time that he should have. But he was a
Yeah.
kid; he can't feel guilty
No.
for that. And
No.
you don't know what's around the corner. And
Yeah.
I've felt that guilt before, like with people that have died in my family. I always thought, oh, if I'd done this differently, and if I'd been there a bit more, or you don't know the last time you're going to see them. I last time I saw my uncle, my cousin, you just don't know. You
No.
just think,
You
oh,
don't.
that's the next time you're going to see, and you do regret not cherishing their moments and doing more with them. So you have to fulfill that in life again with other people that are still here.
Yes.
And what is he
Yes.
doing with his dad and his brother?
Yeah. So
He's
and it's like history's
Yeah.
going to repeat itself, because if he carries on like this with Charles and William, he's already not been there for his brother at a time at great crisis with Catherine. He's, if this carries on with Charles now, he's going to be in that situation again, because Charles isn't getting any younger. So at some point you got to learn your lesson, but obviously when you're with someone like Meghan Markle, and actually I'm going to go back now, because he's saying about the parallels between Thomas Markle and King Charles. You've got two people, two different families, completely different ends of the spectrum, two different countries apart, yet there are so many parallels in them. Yet how are these two families wronged their kids so bad to lead us to here today? And the maths just aren't mathing, are they?
No.
If it was just Meghan who fell out of her family and Harry could maintain a healthy relationship with his family, we could be like, okay, maybe it is her family. There'd be more of a, but the fact is straight across the board, after we've watched both of them now have better relationships with their family. And that's where it's like, in my opinion, 100% on them, isn't it?
I do feel like they're stunted in their emotional maturity. Because as adults, you don't, I mean, I know in my 20s and maybe in my teens, everything was black and white, 100%. Like this is this and this is that, and that's it. There's no middle ground. As you get older, I mean, I see everything in the rainbow colours. I'm looking at angles everywhere, and I don't just come to a decision straight away, and I don't come to a judgment straight away, because there is so many factors that come into play with people, and how what they've been through, why they're behaving like that. Everybody has an emotional response to people's behaviours, but what they don't realise, it's normally never personal. It tends to be that they've got their own issues and they're deflecting onto you. And I would take everything personally when I was a lot younger, because you take it personally. Now I don't. I just know, I look at it and go, well, you're doing what you're doing to me. I know I've done nothing to you, but it's because you're damaged. You've got some issues yourself that you need to deal with. And yes, that's hard, but as you get older, you build up a barrier to that behavior, and you think of it with a more rational mindset. And they seem to be acting like teenagers, basically. They're very reactive to anything that's done towards them. Instead of going, do you know what? Is it really worth this drama? Because they're dramatizing every scenario, basically. That's how I see them, as like young children, like 18, and thinking, let's go and what's the word, elope and fuck everyone off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I wish they did. It would cost us less money, wouldn't it? Jesus Christ. Do you know what? But do you know what? And that for me is the aftermath, because I do see Harry now, and I suppose, I don't know, 10 years ago, I was in this angry state. I was reactive to what everyone said or did around me. The world was against me. I just couldn't see a way out. But then you have your kids, and that changes it. You grow up a little bit, and you want better for them. And, I'm like you. I take a step back now. I try and think more rational. I try and take their feelings into account. It's growth, isn't it? It's growth as a person, as a human being. And then I try and strike some balance with my reaction, what I'm going to... Like, there's none of that. They just go... You've
Yes, they're
wronged
very
me.
reactive,
Like with
really
toxic
reactive.
bile. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like literally
And that,
digging away their own hole.
yeah. And it feels like they're stunted with their growth. Like emotionally, I do feel like they're stunting. And that could be trauma. That could definitely
Yeah.
be trauma. I'm not taking that away from them. Everybody's trauma is not to be compared with others. And you're not meant to be vilified or made to feel like your trauma is less
Um,
than anybody else's.
the thing is
You
though,
don't
I
agree with
see.
me, do you, Tina? Talk to me.
No,
Talk to me.
no,
Come
because
on.
I say that on a lot of my posts, and like my mate said to me that once, and no one had ever said it to me, and I had I was in a really bad place, and I messaged her, and she's always, she's a sleeper, you know, and I messaged her about 1:45 in the morning, and I was like, hey, and she was like, what's up, straight away, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Anyhow, so we had a bit of a chat, and it was like, I know, it felt like a moment. It felt like a moment of like my saviour. But she said to me, own your shit. That was shit for you. Because I spent my whole life going, oh, someone had it worse than me. Someone had it worse than me. And that's what I did.
Yes. That's what I'm talking
And
about.
yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm
And that's
saying.
what she said.
Don't feel that that you have to compare it. Your trauma is yours and only you know it. So it doesn't mean you're any you can't say, oh well, just because there's some children in another country that aren't eating, or that someone was you're comparing your trauma to other people who say, well, they had it worse, so why am I sad? But it's a different situation. You're still allowed to go through that trauma, but then it's how you deal with it, isn't it?
And
It's
that's my
about
point.
yeah. I'll go on. Sorry.
Be- No, 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 no.
No, go on. Go
Harry
on.
has literally used his trauma as ammunition and traumatized other people. And that to
Yeah.
me, that's when it's a no-no. You can't use your trauma to be vile, to drag other people down. There's a limit, you know. And when you've got the amount of money and the amount of support and the mental health support you've had thrown at you your whole life, like he's hurting people. So that's where my sympathy, you know, own the shit you're doing to other people.
What? Yeah. So what? That's exactly what. And
Yeah.
just to add to that, when you go through what you go through, take it as a lesson and
Yes.
either build on that and build a better character for yourself and be someone that you want to be rather than what somebody did to you. So don't be the person that messed your life up. Don't behave
Yeah.
like they did. Take the higher stand, and use it as for character development. I think I do now see there's always a silver lining in a situation. There's always a reason why something happens to
Yeah.
you, because it gets you to a certain place in life. It builds resilience, it builds strength, it builds honor, it builds loyalty, and that's all the good things that come from bad things. And I'm not saying that I wish anything bad on anyone, but sometimes you have to have a rocky life to be a good person. And I do think that you do go through a stage of self-entitlement and self-indulgence, but you have to come out of that at
Yeah.
some point. And they seem to be stuck in it. They're
I
stuck in this woe is me kind of mindset, which is toxic. It's not doing anyone any
no,
favors, but you're never going to have a happy life if you
no.
just feel resentment and anger within your
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
You've
And
got to let it
you know,
go.
you've been there, I've been there. I just so desperate to get away from that. And if we've got the biggest visual in front of our eyes, it's you've got Harry who's chose that direction to remain in it, and William to move away. And look at the differences between the two right now in their life. And you know what? Jesus Christ. I just want to thing to Sedge 429. Why do you taxpayers have to pay the monarchies insanely expensive? And because we get to celebrate with them. The weddings.
Do you know
Do
what
we
people
notice
don't
it?
realise though? And I don't know if everybody realises they draw in a lot more
Yeah,
money than what we pay
yeah,
out in tax. I
yeah,
think for tourist attraction wise, and
yeah.
the air and mystery around them, I think they bring in a lot of revenue. Maybe, I don't know if it will balance itself out or not. I'm not a
There you go.
accountant, and I
No,
don't do
neither do
their
I. But I
accounts.
know it. Like it literally costs us £2 a year So when you
I
look
mean,
at the Troop in the Colour and how spectacular, and the thousands of people that flew in to be in London, to pay into London, to pay into our country, to look at our country and go, wow. And we get to close our streets down. And, you know, one of my memories was like a V-Day party with my nan and granddad, and it was incredible. And I want my kids to have that. I want my kids to paint their faces red, white, and blue. You know, I'm a monarchy. I'm a royalist, man.
You do want this sense of community, and you do like this. I do think the royals have brought that together in some ways, but I think when they misbehave, then it takes it to a different kind of. It starts opening up questions, doesn't it? And I think Harry has opened up a lot of questions with how he's behaved. And I had another point right there. Oh, that's
Andrew's like non-existent to the people. You're like, you're done.
So he's been left out of a few events. I've been reading that King Charles has been snubbing him for a lot of events that he was used to attend. I think he was trying to creep back in, and I think he just knows it's not a good look.
No.
What he's been associated with, you know, he'd already knew what was going on with the old Epstein situation before he got. So I think he was. I'll be very careful what I say on YouTube, because of this case for some reason is a flagged up case, and I don't know why. So when he knew E, and then E got arrested for allegations, he still went back and associated with him after that. So I'm not being, come on, we're not stupid. You know what your friends are up to if you're hanging out with them in their house and you're having parties. You're not stupid. You know what's going on.
Yeah.
You've turned a blind eye to it, and in my eyes, you're just an accomplice to that behaviour. That's all I can say.
Absolutely.
Because you've condoned it.
And that's why, you know, if everybody steps out or above his station, the media, the people are like, get back in your lane, stay out the scene, we don't want to see you.
Yeah.
You know, and I just find the irony in the fact that the people that support Harry and Meghan will always draw it back to him. And it's like, if you really feel the need to place their name alongside him, it's so much about them, does it? You know?
No. It's. I understand King Charles's reluctance to get him back in the fold, and I don't think it's a good look for the monarchy in any way. And I think after his Netflix, that drama, the interview, I just thought he came across really out of touch, really kind of pompous, arrogant, and really just didn't understand the magnitude of what has happened. You know, he's taken it very lightly, as if this isn't a big thing, it's nothing. And maybe this goes on so much more within this culture of, you know, the rich and the famous than we know about. And it's maybe they're desensitized to it. Maybe this life of, you know, using women for what they want and taking advantage of women is acceptable in them cultures, and actually they're used to it. So for them it's like, oh well, this is just part and parcel of our life, and it's not okay, you know. He just never came across in any way like he had any empathy for the victims, and I think that's where we'd have to draw a line under Mr. Andy.
Well, obviously what he's done is on a scale up here, but I think we've had that evidently in front of us with Harry. It was almost like he'd done all this and it just expected the royal family to go, oh, it's okay. That's all right. And, you know, I'm not, you stupid. Like, they've been brought up with such opulence, with everything given to them, everything planned out for them. They're not like us. They're not working like the shifts in trying to navigate the bills. They're not doing that. There is a realism to this. And we watched Charles when he had that little strop about the pen not working, and like that little, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is given.
Yeah, you can see,
so
that you see that there was a revealing moment where you know he's got a temper.
Yeah.
Because he's angry about a pen.
Yeah.
And
not having the right
it's
pen that was
small
in the way and like,
things.
oh, sort it.
Yeah, it's like you gotta have a cool hat, you know. Your temper
Yeah.
shows, and people, anyone that's put under pressure, you see what their
Yeah.
real character's about because you're gonna see how they deal
But
with
I'm
it.
not putting shade on King Charles, because if I
No,
grew up in that environment, I would
you
be
want
the same.
everything to be done. Well,
Yeah.
you're probably very pernickety. You're very you want everything to be perfect, and he's probably embarrassed that his pen wasn't working live on television. So I
Yes.
get that. I do understand that. But with me, probably all I would have done is gone, oh, it's not working. Just give me another one. Oh,
Get me a
oh.
saucepan. Sound effects.
I think you just, if you know,
Wrong with
own
it.
something going
Yeah.
wrong, because something always goes wrong on this podcast anyway. So I'm used to it now. It's fine. Can't get my headphones in half the time. So there we go. But yeah, well, thank you guys for all joining us this evening. We're doing a 1 hour and 5 minute show today. Just a quick update on the incident with Princess Anne. Thank you guys for all joining us. Also, I wanted to ask you where you're all listening and watching from. I know I like to
You
ask
love
this
this,
question,
don't you,
but
Vic? You like to
I
move
just love it.
around the world
I
with
really do. I
reaching
do. I
out
think it's
to. It
brilliant.
is
I feel like
interesting. It's nice.
I'm just talking to the world, which is amazing. And someone said to me the other day there's a comment, oh, you're always fidgeting. Yes, I am always fidgeting. I think I have undiagnosed ADHD, guys. So if you do see me going like this or
Oh, thank
whatever,
you, Emma.
that's just me. I'm a fidget. I do apologise. Maybe just don't watch me, just listen if it bothers you that much. Thank you all so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. If you can, like, subscribe, share, and I might do a live on Wednesday. So that'll be great. If you guys can join us, it'll be from 9 p.m. Anything you want to add to Tina
No,
before we go?
obviously, I'm not going to be on now for the next 11
I
days.
know. When are you back?
I'm back on the 7th of July.
Are you going to join me on the 7th of July? You're going to be tired, aren't you? We have to
7th of
rebook
July
you
is a
in.
Sunday. 7th of July is Sunday. So I will join you on the 8th on the Monday. So I have plenty of time to catch up on my sleep.
Yes. And you're going to be all tanned.
Hopefully.
You're going to be showing off your tan.
All
Wonderful.
relaxed, you know.
All relaxed. All back to the royal
we've
drama.
got Denmark, USA, Montreal, Canada.
I know. I think it's brilliant. I love it.
England,
I love it.
Oklahoma.
Guys, I am visiting Florida in October. So anyone that's living in Florida, hit me up with some like good restaurants, places that I can go. I just need to know where to go and where it's happening. I'm Disneyland, by the way. I might see you there, guys. All right. I'll see you on Wednesday. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Thank you. Take care.
Bye,
Bye, bye, bye,
everyone.
bye.